We always expected that growth would be weaker while we were tackling high inflation. That means that interest rates are going to be higher. That's the right thing to do because high inflation is a massive pressure on family budgets. It means the cost of the weekly shop is much higher than it would otherwise have been. But it also makes it impossible for businesses to grow sustainably. So the primary objective is to bring down inflation. And actually, if you look at the underlying data in the economy, we are succeeding in doing that much faster than many people predicted. It's fallen from 11% to 4%. Many people thought it wouldn't hit the Bank of England's 2% target for a year. It now looks like it might do that in the next few months. And when that happens, you can start to bring down interest rates and start to get the much healthier growth that we all want.
Living standards, they still haven't returned to their pre-pandemic levels. This is the stuff that people really care about. Wages still aren't back to where they were in real terms before the financial crisis. Are you proud of how the Conservatives, not just your government, have handled the economy?
Well, if you look at what's happened since 2010, the economy has grown faster than France, Germany, Italy, Japan, many other similar countries. We've actually
not
created...
The US,
no, the US has grown faster, and I do believe that in the long run, lower taxed economies tend to grow faster, which is why I started to bring down taxes in the autumn statement. Since then, we've also created 800 jobs for every single day that we've been in office. We've given the UK a technology industry, the industry of the future, that is double the size of Germany's, 3 times the size of France. But notwithstanding that, we've also had a pandemic. We've had a Ukraine war that has meant that inflation rose to more than 11%. So the primary challenge since I became Chancellor, the most important thing that I can do to relieve pressure on families is to bring down that inflation rate. It's come down from 11% to 4%.
Yep.
That's also very important for businesses that are trying to grow and expand. And that is why we need to stick to our guns, and independent forecasters say if we do that, inflation will come down to its target in a matter of months. And then we can start to see interest rates falling.
Great. And so let's talk about tax cuts, because you say you believe that tax cuts are the way to grow the economy. Can we expect some more tax cuts in the budget in the coming weeks, and where will they be?
Well, you will know that chancellors don't talk about budgets just a few weeks before, and that's for a very good reason, because I don't yet know the final numbers that I will receive from the Office for Budget Responsibility. But what I would say is that I do believe, if you look around the world, that the economies, as we were talking about, like the United States and Canada, which have lighter taxes, particularly lighter taxes on business, tend to grow faster. But I would only cut taxes in a way that was responsible, and I certainly wouldn't do anything that fueled inflation just when we're starting to have some success in bringing down inflation. OK,
so let's talk about responsible tax cuts. There's obviously taxation, there's also spending. Your spending plans that are currently in place have been described by some as a work of fiction. Unprotected budgets in the 5 years to 2028 are set for a 16% real terms cut. Are you prepared to constrain public spending even further to fund tax cuts?
Well, you'll have to wait for the budget, for the decision that the Prime Minister eventually make. But what I would say is that I was Health Secretary for nearly 6 years. I negotiated a lot of extra money for the NHS. I'm a passionate supporter of the NHS and all our public services. But in the long run, the best thing that I can do as Chancellor for the NHS is to make sure that our economy is growing healthily. So what you will see in everything I do in the budget on March the 6th is prioritising economic growth. And we have a plan that we are sticking to, which is bringing down inflation and unlocking the potential for growth. May I say, in stark contrast to the Labour Party that has just abandoned the central plank of their economic plan. They don't have a plan. This is a time when we need to stick to our guns.
The IMF is saying that you should not be cutting taxes. Are they wrong?
Well, lots of independent commentators have different views. What they should do, and everyone else needs to do, is to wait until the budget. And then what you will see is the United Kingdom prioritising economic growth so that we can relieve pressure on families up and down the country who have been going through a very difficult period.
So tax cuts in the budget would be responsible?
As you know, chancellors don't talk about the contents of budgets. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that has been a convention for many, many decades. But what I will say is that we would only ever cut taxes in a way that is responsible.